All right, let's put it like this. When the Mets leave the winter meetings, what would success actually look like for this front office when they leave the winter meetings? What's a successful winter meetings? Now, we know how baseball free agency can go. Things can be very, very drawn out. But if you had to
Right.
say, hey, this is successful winter meetings for the Mets when they leave this week, what does that look like?
Okay, I'm going to give them more time than the winter. I know we're starting the winter meetings, and last year they signed Soto, and a lot of great stuff happened at the winter meetings, not just with the Mets, but with many teams. It doesn't feel like there's going to be I mean, we'll see. We don't. It's hard to predict how much action there's going to be, but 90% of the free agents are still available, and we have a lot of time to go. It's not basketball where there's a deadline and everything gets done right away. Now there is a little bit more interest at this moment, and there's more contact, and it's face to face. It's not just texting. So I do expect a fair amount to happen here at the winter meetings, but I'm hesitant to give them a grade and say, well, they got to do this and that and the other thing within the next 5 days. I think that's a little tough. Certainly, by the end of this winter, though, you got to have a good first baseman, preferably Alonso. You got to have a better back end of the bullpen, preferably Diaz. They need to get an outfielder. Could that be Bellinger? Maybe. I do feel like the Mets are going to do a lot. I think they're going to really improve this team. I don't feel like they can come back with the same team. I think they feel the same. And I do believe they're going to have a big winter, and it's going to be an exciting winter, but I'm not going to hold them to doing it in the next 4 to 5 days. That's a little tough, even for me.
It's tough. It is tough. Let me ask you this, Reds Insider, one last thing. Do you wish there was more activity at the winter meetings? Do you wish it was a little bit more like basketball and there was sort of a deadline?
It would make all of our lives easier.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. Not just mine. It would make their lives a lot easier, right?
Yeah.
If it all gets done, and then they can rest. But what did Alonso? When did he sign? Bryce Harper signed on February 28th, memorably with the Phillies. There have been a lot of big stars who've signed into spring training. And that's a long time from now. We're just at the beginning of December at this point. So that's the way it goes in baseball. I'm sure a lot of executives would like to do it with a deadline and just have a lot of frenzied activity. We do have a deadline in the summer at the trade deadline, and it certainly creates a lot of excitement at that moment. But this way, I guess there's anticipation and excitement throughout the off season. Last year, I think, was that was helpful when Soto got signed and Crochet was traded, Fried was signed, a lot got done, and Snell had already been done by that point, I believe, last year, right?
Yep.
And so there wasn't. I think there's going to be a lot to do after this one. I don't know the reason. Is it because there's a concern about the collective bargaining agreement? Is it a concern over the fact that Dylan Cease, a guy with a 4.56 ERA, got $210 million, and nobody wants to repeat that? I mean, if someone with a 4.5 ERA is worth $210 million, what does everybody else get? We're talking about Fromber. I mean, he's got quite a good track record. Is he worth more than $210 million? I think it's going to take a while for everybody to figure it out, for them to come together, to compromise. So I do think there will be activity. There's going to be trades. There's going to be free agent signings. We're not going to see something like Soto, impossibly, of course, because we don't have Soto on the board. But I think we'll see some good stuff happen here, but things will go on for months. Unfortunately, for me, but for them more, because it's a lot of work.